Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the Dairy Edge. This week's PastureBase figures: average farm cover 724 kilos of dry matter per hectare, cover per livestock unit 228 kilos of dry matter per hectare, growth at 52 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and demand at 47 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Pre-grazing yield has dropped ever so slightly to 1530 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and the diet is roughly consistent of 14 kilos of grass and 4 kilos of supplement at the minute. Dry matter percentages are largely in line with the variability we're seeing throughout the country, with 14% recorded in Athenry, County Galway, and 20% recorded in Grange, County Meath, and 20% in Moorpark, County Cork. Your predicted grass growth, rainfall, and soil temperatures for the coming 7 days. Growth predictions are back slightly for the coming 7 days, with mid to high 50s expected for large parts of the country. This is largely down to cooler temperatures, with soil temperatures expected to drop back to between 13 and 14 degrees, and also higher rainfall amounts, particularly for the west, with between 25 and 35 millimetres of rain expected, and between 15 and 20 millimetres of rain expected for the east and the south. Your Grass10 grazing tips for this week: the variability on farm throughout the country currently is massive, and averages are not really telling the full picture. There's parts of the border, Midlands and West, that have received a lot of rainfall over the last 10 days, and particularly on heavy soils or heavy paddocks on heavy farms, trafficability has deteriorated. Then you have parts of the south that up until earlier this week had not received much rain, and they were suffering with low growth rates, and they have not been able to build any grass. Average farm cover has largely remained static over the past 7 days, and growth rates are below normal at 52 kilos of dry matter per hectare. For farms that have received adequate rainfall and are growing reasonably, it's important to assess where you are in terms of the autumn grazing targets. For farms stocked at 3 livestock units per hectare, the target is 250 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit and a 25-day rotation currently. If you're not at 250 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit by now, you're going to need to introduce supplement or to reduce demand. Rotation then needs to be at 25 days now to utilise fertiliser spread this rotation, and build peak farm cover in early September to in around 330 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit, and see the targets in this week's Grass10 newsletter. As we also said, many parts of Southern Ireland are behind target and short of grass due to the poor grass growing conditions. So to quantify this, we're saying farms that have a farm cover of under 600 kilos of dry matter per hectare or under 200 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit. Average farm cover must be assessed and action taken immediately. Rotation length must be extended to 25 days plus on these farms, and a minimum of 30 days from the 1st of September. So from the 1st of September, if you have a 30 hectare farm, the target is to graze 1 hectare per day and fill the remaining part of the diet with supplement. Herd demand must be reduced on these farms by introducing more supplement. Silage will have a greater impact on reducing grass intake, removing surplus stock and or cull animals, and make sure that all the grazing area is available to the milking herd. The advice on the remaining fertiliser application: establish your remaining nitrogen allowance for your farm by talking to your advisor. Early application of N during late August will give a higher response. Paddocks to be grazed this week that have 1 application of fertiliser left, spread 30 to 35 kilos of N per hectare, about 25 to 30 units of N per acre. The opportunity is still there to apply K with fertiliser nitrogen now, so 0P products with N and K. Products like a 29 or 14 can help to replace K on paddocks that have been cut for silage or surplus bales. Billy Gilmore from Tuam Co, County Galway is this week's featured farmer. Billy was the Sustainable Grassland Farmer of the Year dry stock winner in 2023. Billy is contract rearing 185 dairy heifers on 50 hectares in County Galway. Billy has an average farm cover of 719 kilos dry matter per hectare at the minute, 22 days ahead of grass supply, and growth is largely outstripping demand, with growth at 61 kilos dry matter per hectare and demand at 33 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Billy is in a very good position grazing wise currently. Growth is well ahead of demand, and he's comfortably building grass covers as he's moving into the autumn. Pre-grazing yield is at 1600 kilos of dry matter per hectare. For fertiliser application, grass-only paddocks are getting a mix of a half a bag per acre of 18612 or a half a bag per acre of 38+7 protected urea plus sulphur. Clover paddocks are getting a half a bag of 0050 currently. Billy has just taken his first grazing off a reseed that was reseeded on the 29th of June. The post-emergent spray was very successful on the reseed, and it's a high clover mix gone in. Billy is opening the gates of his farm as part of the Sustainable Grassland Farmer of the Year competition next Tuesday, the 27th of August at 6:30 p.m. on his farm in Tuam Co, County Galway, and you're all very welcome. For dairy farmers wondering how to do a better job on out farms or heifer blocks, a trip to Billy Gilmore's next week is very well worth it. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.